It's February 1st, 2019.
This is Nerd Bourbon episode 87. I'm Seth Sturgill.
And I'm Todd Sturgill.
What's up?
How you doing? What's with this low energy?
Not good. I'm sick.
Are you sick?
Yeah. Well, I caught a cold a few days ago.
I'm amazed I haven't caught anything with the Winter Wonderland bullshit.
The ridiculous, negative, 24 wind chill or whatever in Chicago.
Oh, dude, I saw some dumb shit today. It's like, was it coming up, in a couple days? I think I only went this coming Wednesday. It's going to be, negative 40 wind chill.
Jesus Christ.
And I'm sitting here I'm the king of wearing shorts,
No, how you walking in that shit? That's my thing.
That shit died real quick. I'll wear shorts in 15 degrees, shit like that. But once you get to the single digits and you're getting this negative ass wind chill, that shit over with.
Well, here again, I just don't understand how you're walking in it. Take a fucking Uber, dude.
Here's my thing with it. Even with that shit, I still handle the cold really, really well. It's not that bad to me.
No.
Dude,
no way.
Cold ain't shit to me, man.
I have pretty high cold tolerance. Don't get me wrong. But
no, you don't.
I'm not dealing with that shit.
Nah, that shit's whatever. Shit's fine to me.
Now we lived in Alaska for a while.
Shit, we were cold. We were colder in Alaska a couple days ago.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. You would come outside and just literally the air would just get knocked out of your lungs.
That's kind of when I got off of work last night. I breathed. Then I was like, oh shit. I was like, oh shit.
Speaking of breathing in, that's a better segue than you realize.
I know.
Before we started recording, we were just talking. You were telling me a story about how you had found some rotten shrimp.
Yeah.
In an aisle in your store, and I was like, that reminds me, because I thought the direction that story was going, I thought you were going to, I told you, I was like, I thought you were going to go down a direction that I've been on, and I guess I haven't told you this story before, so I wanted to have this immortalized, recorded on the podcast. I was at my Wal-Mart, my local Wal-Mart, and this is a simple story, but it's great. We were walking. I think we were in the HBA section, so the shampoo and the hair dye and stuff like that. And as we come down the aisle, I don't remember who I was with, but we come down the aisle and we just catch a punch in the face.
Oh no.
We just catch this smell of just shit. It smells dude, it smells like you're literally standing next to somebody while they're taking a shit.
No, did somebody shit and put it behind a fucking thing?
So here's what happened. So we're looking around. I'm like, dude, I gotta know what this smell is.
That's the most fucked up thing, and I say that it's the curiosity. You have to know. What is this?
Yeah. Well, just there must be an explanation for it. And in my head, I'm like, maybe is this what it smells like when maybe hair dye? Because I don't know if you ever smelled hair dye. It smells pretty bad already.
Yeah, it's not a good smell.
And then if maybe it was left open for too long or something like that, but no. As you smelled it more and more, it became obvious that this was just human shit. And so I'm scanning the aisles, and finally we get to the very last aisle, and I see just on the ground just a brown smear on the ground. And the smear is going underneath the aisle.
No. Oh, no!
And I looked, and sure enough, they dead ass took a shit on the floor, and just as if it were ice cubes falling out of a fridge, just took their foot and slid it underneath the aisle.
That's the type of shit I do at work. Not the shit, but something. If something is a small item, I don't feel like picking up. I'll kick that shit under the fucking.
They literally just squatted, shat in the middle of the aisle, and just.
Dude, you know what? Maybe it's they didn't even squat. I saw a fucking video, and it was the most gangster shit I've ever seen. It was this little chubby white kid or some shit that it was he was wearing shorts. This kid was just standing there, shat himself like nothing, and fucking wiggled it out of his shorts.
I don't understand that.
And fucking walked away. I mean, here's the thing. I don't want to associate with anybody that does shit like that, because there's something wrong right there.
I feel like, I mean, this is such a weird, gross way to open this podcast, but I feel like my shit's too tight for just huge amounts of shit to just be like plopping right out, you know? Like, that's so weird to me. I don't understand how you could do that.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it's weird.
Anyway, we're going down a dark path that I fear we can never return from. This is going to be a bit of a weird episode. We both have shit going on this week, and by shit, I mean Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming out, and you're playing a bunch of Monster Hunter basically immediately after we get done recording this episode.
Oh, yes.
So, we both have, like, kind of major, like, video game things happening, and it'll just be nice to get an episode of the podcast done so that we can focus on it. So, you're not going to hear any Monster Hunter talk from Todd this week. You're not going to hear any Kingdom Hearts talk from me this week. That will all happen next week in spades, I'm sure.
Oh, yes.
Next week I'll probably have beaten Kingdom Hearts by then, depending. We'll see. But I basically plan on spending like 48 straight hours with Kingdom Hearts. So we shall see. What we are going to do, because we had realized a while ago that we are due for a new episode of Video Game Vomit, that I think we're going to go ahead and do an episode of that. Before we do that, though, I did want to cover a couple of bits of news, because there has been, even though we just published a podcast just days ago, or really yesterday at the time of this recording, we just put out a new episode, but even though that just happened, we have had some pretty major bits of news crop up. And I feel like we're not really going to have another great place to discuss it. So I think we should tackle some news and then play Video Game Vomit.
Let's do it.
I wanted to talk about, just real briefly, and I don't want to stop and talk about like every fucking game, but Nintendo did have their the Switch Indie Direct.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, they're like continuously like tormenting me by not just having a Nintendo Direct. It's like it's fucking killing me, dude. I'm like every day I'm like looking at, I'm like, when is the Nintendo Direct coming? And when is it coming?
It'll never come, boy.
I can't believe we're gonna end January with no Nintendo Direct. Like, it's shocking to me. Now, it's probably gonna come early February, but I'm just like, still, I can't believe it. But so they've been. It's weird because they have been doling out news like slowly, to the point where I think they're kind of skimming some of the smaller news off of this Nintendo Direct. Like, I feel like they had a Direct, and then they're taking off some of the smaller news and just making like little mini things out of it. So like they announced, a couple weeks ago, they announced the date for like Yoshi's Crafted World, which would normally, have a place in a Direct, and now all these indie games. So They highlighted, I think it was 9 games in this Indie Direct. It was just a little, 15-minute video. But I did want to just talk about a couple of the standout ones, namely SteamWorld Quest, The Hand of Gilgamesh. I am very, very on board with this. So it's almost looks like a turn-based RPG, like a deck-based turn-based RPG.
Okay.
And normally that would not really be my shit, right? Like, normally that doesn't really sound good to me, but I'm telling you, dude, like, these SteamWorld games are so good. Like, SteamWorld Dig 1 and 2 and SteamWorld Heist, all 3 of those games are so excellent, and they are so, perfect at taking a genre that I don't normally like and making me like it, with just, really good, really readable mechanics. If anybody is going to make me enjoy a deck-based combat game, it is going to be these guys at Image and Form. So I'm very into that. There's also this game called Wargroove, which looks interesting. I had not heard of it before, but apparently this has been on a lot of people's radar for a long time. It's I guess a tactics game, a tactics RPG on Switch, but it has this really cool 80s anime kind of art style. It's interesting. And there's this one called Crosscode. There's a whole bunch of stuff that they highlighted in this Indie Direct. There was one that I was telling you about called Unruly Heroes, which is it's like a a combat platformer based on the Journey to the West, like, Sun Wukong, Monkey King kind of mythology.
Yeah.
That looks really cool. That was Shadow Drop. It's already out. It's out now. And I was actually thinking about picking it up because I'm very intrigued by it.
There was like one game that I think I saw I really liked the visuals of.
What was it?
It was what was it? Inmost or some shit?
Yeah, I think I did see that.
Yeah, like visually I liked the way that game. I was intrigued by that game.
That's the one that kind of had like that dark.
Yeah,
kind of
like the dark, like pixel, like kind of gothic a little bit pixel art.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I liked the look of that too. But the last time we based our hype on a game based on visuals alone, we got vain. So.
Which I still do need to play. I will play that game.
We'll see. But yeah, that it was, again, it was a mini direct. It wasn't anything huge, but I like my indie games, and I like that they gave us that. It just was not enough to satiate my hunger for a Nintendo Direct.
Yeah.
I just can't believe it because like we fucking have, and I'm trying not to get too amped up. I'm trying to keep my voice. I'm not trying to lose my voice, Todd, but it gets me heated.
You will not see a Direct. You don't deserve it.
They have games where it's like they've got games like Luigi's Mansion and Animal Crossing and Fire Emblem and Fire Emblem in particular. That game's got to be ready pretty soon because Fire Emblem typically comes out in like April, May. I'm like, fuck, like at least one or two of these games has to be ready within the next 6 months. We need to know about that. Like at least one or two of these games has to be coming out before E3. This is the kind of shit that we should know. Speaking of Nintendo, this is major news. Nintendo released a development update video that announced that not only is Nintendo scrapping Metroid Prime 4's current state of development, they're taking, I think it was Team Ninja working on it originally. They scrapped everything Team Ninja is doing, and they are rebooting Metroid Prime 4 from scratch with Metroid Prime creators Retro Studios.
Okay, then.
Did you hear about that?
I think I saw you post about it.
It's pretty shocking news for a few reasons. I mean, it's shocking that, here's the thing that, I pointed out when I posted about on Facebook, because the thing that people aren't realizing is that, Metroid Prime is not a hugely selling series. The entire Metroid Prime series has sold roughly 7 million copies. I mean, that's that's fine, but it's not. I mean, it's nothing. You know what I mean?
For a whole series, that's yeah.
For the entirety of the Metroid Prime trilogy, 7 million units. And that's mostly because they're stranded. Most of them were stranded on hardware that did not sell that great. But I mean, when you think about it, one of them was on the Wii, and it's still I think moved a little over 2 million. So the Metroid Prime series is not it's critically revered, but it is not commercially doesn't do that great. So for Nintendo to be oh hey, 2 years of development, we've been paying you people for 2 years. Yeah, we're just gonna throw that all out the window. I mean, that's shocking.
Yeah.
That is dumping a lot of money into Metroid Prime 4, and God knows how much longer it's gonna be now until we see that game. It's kind of nice to see a developer be this transparent about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that transparency and that just honesty is being kind of rewarded with the community, because you don't see that many people talking shit. You would think with an announcement like this that the internet would just be fucking ablaze, right? Mm-hmm. Just people trying to tear down the foundations that Nintendo is built on, but it's not. I mean, people are being very cool about it. Very understanding, because I think Nintendo was just, upfront, transparent, and honest about what was going on with that game. So it's cool. And Retro has been rumored to be working on this Star Fox Grand Prix or whatever it is, racing game. And I feel like the fact that Retro is now taking on Metroid Prime 4 probably means that game is done. It was actually rumored to be like a Switch launch title. So the fact that we're here like in like year 2 of the Switch and still haven't even seen that game, I feel like that's going to be like a Shadow Drop 2019 game. I feel like they're going to announce and release whatever Retro has been working on since Tropical Freeze in 2019. So I think that's going to be a thing. And like I said, losing Metroid Prime 4 isn't even like a big deal because the Switch has so much other shit coming out. It's like not even... We've got Pokemon this year. We've got Bayonetta 3, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, Yoshi's Crafted World, Animal Crossing, Fire Emblem, Luigi's Mansion. Like, we're good.
Only one of those games I'm interested in.
No, that's because you're a loser.
I'm not into 10-year-old.
So, you don't care that a new mainline Pokemon game is coming out on Switch.
I mean, I kind of do.
I don't understand you.
We've had this discussion.
We have had this discussion. That's a whole other fucking can of worms that we shouldn't open. But yeah, I am very ready for 2019 with Nintendo. But you know, it's not a big loss, guys. Like, if there is somebody out there listening to this that is upset about Metroid, like, don't get me wrong, I'm upset about it too. But was anybody really expecting it to come out this year anyway? No. And also, delays are never a bad thing for the quality of a game. So you're gonna get a better game in the end. So, anyway, those are the 2 news items I wanted to touch on. There's a couple little smaller things, like GameStop fucked some people over with the Kingdom Hearts PS4 Pro shit. Did you see that?
GameStop fucking people over? Sounds about
Yeah,
right.
tell me more. Yeah. The only, I did consider like bringing that up as a news topic only because of the savagery that I forget his name, but the guy who does the voice of Rivali, as he does the voice of Rivali as well as like a few of the other video game characters. He's like a relatively prolific video game voice actor, and he threw GameStop some shade on Twitter.
Oh, okay. Oh, God bless.
It's pretty good. Anyway, it's time, Todd. It's time. It's been a while since we've played our quarterly game show, Video Game Vomit. For the kids at home, if you've never listened to an episode of Video Game Vomit before, basically what it is a show in which we pull up a video game title mashup generator, which is an algorithm that grabs like just a shit ton of video game titles across history and across platforms and just mashes them together. And sometimes, most of the time, it's garbage, and sometimes it's gold. Todd and I basically take turns compiling a list of 10. This time around, it is my turn. I've got 10 titles here. Todd does not know what they are. This will be a complete surprise to him. And every time it's my turn to do Video Game Vomit, I like to do a little bit of a spin on it. I like to bring a little bit of an extra twist to it. So my challenge to you, Todd, with this episode of Video Game Vomit is I would like, we're going to go through all the titles here, and we're going to hash out what we think these games would be, as we always do. But I would like, especially in the spirit of Monster Hunter, we were talking about Monster Hunter earlier, in the spirit of Monster Hunter and several other games, I would like to create a convincing crossover with 2 of these titles.
Okay.
So that was my challenge with this episode of Video Game Vomit. 10 titles here. Todd and I are going to hash out what they could be. We're going to create some free video game developments for the industry here. Some winning ideas. All right. Todd, are you ready?
Let's do it!
I've got these titles in no particular order. So we're just going to start. Basically, it was just the order that I saw the good titles. We're just going to start. Subterranean Shaving.
Subterranean Shaving.
Yes.
All right, then.
Where does that take you? How does that tickle your fancy?
I mean, obviously, it's taking me underground.
It's taking you to a subterranean place.
Yes.
The shaving is interesting.
The shaving is interesting.
What do you make of that? Where's your brain go?
Some dude like mining with a razor blade? I don't fucking know.
Mining with a razor blade. I here's let me give you this. See if you like this. Maybe it is a barber simulation,
Okay.
but you are shaving planets. So like your barber's chair has planets that like come into it for a shave. It's not like it's like a larger than life kind of thing. You're basically a cosmic barber, and planets and like moons are coming to see you for a shave. I don't know.
It's some dumbassery, but I love it.
It's high concept, but
High concept. You are a god.
yeah, you're just a cosmic being that is shaving these planets. They're coming down. I'm just imagining sort of like a cutesy art style where like the planets have like very content like smiles on their face while you're just shaving away at their like mountain structures and rivers and stuff like that. And it could be sort of like I'm picturing like that weird in like No Man's Sky where you just basically carve into like the geometry of the world.
Yes, it's the best part.
Yeah, I'm basically imagining that
Okay.
with this. And they can kind of maybe give you like an outline, like maybe they want sort of like a beard, and maybe you can like add or subtract as you see fit from the sort of planet's rigid structure.
Oh god.
I don't know. That's where my head
dig
goes.
deep into the recesses of your mind for some of this shit.
My mind has infinite recesses.
Oh god.
And it's also as if it were a schoolboy, an infinite recess. Which is the name of my next town. No, I'm just kidding. Infinite recess.
That would have been an amazing segue though.
Bro, that would have been a segue for the fucking ages.
Some real shit.
Okay. This is not as crazy of a leap as you might think from that though, because my second title is We Love Goth Stadium.
We love Goth Stadium.
Goth. That's not me with my sickly voice saying golf. I'm saying goth like the
Goth.
emo black
Yeah.
jumpsuit wearing kids.
I don't know where to go with that.
Where does this take you? I mean, Goth Stadium has me thinking of like what would goths be in a stadium setting for? You know what I mean? Beyond just like a concert. So you're thinking of just in South Park terms.
Yeah, usually. And I'm thinking about that. It's not even that. Like I remember like years ago seeing this really, really just stupid video of just a fucking plethora of
A gaggle of goths?
a gaggle of goths.
What do they call a group of goths?
Shit, a gaggle.
Just
I like a gaggle.
a gaggle of goths. I like that too. Yeah, I'm just wondering like if it's like, you know, it isn't as if like they're going there for a concert is like boring. I guess they would, you know, probably go to a stadium for a concert, but I like the idea that this would be like goth-based Olympian sports. You know what I mean? Like you know, oh, like it's the this is so stupid. Oh, it's the long range black fingernail polish challenge. Like
What the fuck?
like one goth is at the end of like the 100-yard line with an extremely long like fingernail paintbrush, and they have to like precisely paint the other goth's fingernails from a far distance.
Oh, God bless. But it's like, what else? What other dumb shit could you have them do?
Olympian brooding. Who can brood for the longest? I don't know. I'm spitballing, Todd. I'm spitballing.
Shit, I could win that award.
Give me some brooding.
Yes.
Are you saying that you're more goth than most?
Oh.
You'd fit in with this gaggle of goths.
I probably could.
Give me a goth challenge. What do you think? What would be a goth sport?
That's the thing. Like, what is, that's a good question. There's a lot of dumb shit you can do with that.
I need you to be my creative partner.
Creative partner. God, what other bullshit are goth kids into?
I'm at the everydaygoth.com.
Oh, everyday goth. Is that a website?
The everydaygoth.com.
No, that's not a website.
It is a website. 25 things a goth needs. Holy shit. Number 3 here is a pair of shoes that work with your style of gothy dancing.
Oh, God.
Things to consider include height, thickness of the heel, and strength or presence of the tread so that you can stay safe while you rock out.
Oh, God.
So gothy dancing, I guess, could be a thing. Thrift store. Do goths go thrift shopping?
I can see it.
I thought goths were kind of like... I don't know. Maybe I'm just ignorant, but I thought goths were like... more, I guess, preppy. Like, they only bought, like, the name brand bullshit, you know?
Nah. I mean, they can, I think. But it's like...
Is that a subset of goths?
Oh, God.
A trusted
place... We're stepping into some shit we can't possibly understand.
So this would be a good one, Todd.
What's up?
So this blog post here at the Everyday Goth brings up the idea of mods. So like their piercings and stuff like that.
Okay.
There could be a piercing based challenge in We Love Goth Stadium. Anyway. I feel I've extracted enough from that. Number 3. Now, there are a few character-based games on this list. And I think that the low-hanging fruit would be to take those games they're character-based and make those the crossover events, but I don't want to do that per se, unless we can find a compelling reason to do it. But number 3 is Luigi's Ostrich Pinball.
All right, then.
You heard me right. Luigi's Ostrich Pinball. Am I misremembering? Are there like ostrich-like characters in Mario games? I feel like there are like ostrich-esque characters.
Sounds like a weird fever dream.
No, it's real. Ostros. Ostros are large flightless birds that first appeared in Super Mario Bros. 2. Yeah. Yeah, it's a thing.
God.
I knew I remembered this from somewhere. Did I ever tell you? This is sort of a famous story. I'm pretty sure I haven't said it on the podcast, but I can't remember if I told you or not. We were driving home from like a long trip. I don't even remember where from. But it was like long, and Anastasia was driving, and it was like late at night and like super rainy, and like it was fucking like it was the kind of rain where you couldn't see like 2 feet in front of you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And we're driving home, and they had, I think it was around like Christmas time or something, they had a bunch of flags lining the roads. And Anastasia we're driving home, and like we're both so tired, and she comes to a sudden like jerked like stop, and I'm like, whoa, what the fuck, like what was that, you know? And she's like,
Mm-hmm.
I thought I saw an ostrich in the road.
What?
And I was like, she said, oh no, I'm sorry, she said, I thought I saw some ostriches in the road.
What?
And I was like, excuse me? I was like, ostriches? And by the way, ostriches, like plural, like as in multiple ostriches? And she was like, yeah, like at least 3 ostriches. She thought, in her sleep state, in the cold and the rain and the darkness, she thought that the flags were ostriches.
God bless. Surprised you never told me that.
I'm surprised I've never told you that. So yeah, so the sort of you know, trappings of Mario lore have done most of the work for us here, with these ostros, these ostro characters taking place already in the Mario universe, and we know that this is Luigi's Ostrich Pinball. So, I mean, this seems like this could be a very easy, like, oh, you're using the ostro's eggs. But did you know, Todd, that there is another ostrich, a prolific Nintendo ostrich, that could make a cameo in Luigi's Ostrich Pinball?
Is that a thing?
Do you not remember Espresso the ostrich from the Donkey Kong series?
No, I do not.
Well, I'm sorry for you, because Espresso the ostrich is a fantastic character.
Now, is this going to essentially just be a Luigi and now Espresso pinball game?
I mean, it seems like, it is called like Luigi's Ostrich Pinball. I mean, I just sort of feel like how many different, I do like to take these titles and sort of twist them and do something you wouldn't expect, but
Like it is essentially just going to be a like fucking themed.
it's going to be a fucking pinball game, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, what else do you do with that? It's a pinball game. So, is it now? Before we move on, let's answer this question: Is it the ostriches themselves, or is it their eggs?
The eggs. Big ol' ostrich eggs.
I feel like an ostrich egg can take a beating.
Yeah, they're pretty. You ever seen them? The shit that they're huge.
Yeah, and they're pretty like thick though, right?
Yeah, they are. I think they are actually.
Yeah. Hang on, is this
An egg is an egg, though.
Would you eat an ostrich egg?
I would, yeah.
Huh. Apparently, there's also ostriches in the Elden region in Breath of the Wild.
What?
I've put like 200 hours into Breath of the Wild. I ain't never seen a fucking ostrich.
It's like I feel like I'm gonna have to jump on Breath of the Wild.
I swear to God, I'm sitting here. It's called the Elden Ostrich. It's in the fucking Elden region. I'm looking at a picture of it right now. What? What? From the Hyrule Compendium entry, this large bird makes its home in the volcanic region of Elden. Their heat-resistant feathers and skin are evolutionary traits produced by the harsh environment. Their wings are too small to
Oh, never mind. I've seen these.
I have not seen these. I mean,
these.
if I've seen these, I don't remember seeing them one bit.
Yeah, I've seen these. I forgot about these.
Holy shit. Oh my God.
That's funny.
Anyway, let's move on. The second one, like I said, this is another character. And again, I think this is going to be the obvious way to go, but I don't think this is going to be an interesting crossover, even though this is another Nintendo character-based game. Kirby's Dungeon of the Damned.
Ooh, what? So here's the deal. I feel like you got to go roguelike with that.
My first thought was like Darkest Dungeon kind of thing.
Yeah, that can work.
Which isn't roguelike, but I'm just saying,
But, I mean,
the perspective of it is what made me think of that. Yeah.
Is it wrong? I want Kirby in that like sort of art style.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. That sort of blocky 2D art style. But like the nice thing about it is the nice thing about that is like we already have such a rich roster of Kirby characters. Especially like with Star Allies is all about co-op and shit like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to see Waddle Dee go insane. I want to see what happens when you push King Dedede to the brink. What happens when you push King Dedede or Meta Knight to the brink of insanity? What truly happens?
You get the dick.
What? Yeah. What truly happens in the inner machinations of King Dedede's mind? That's the kind of thing we explore in Kirby's Dungeon of the Damned. Do you like it to be like a Darkest Dungeon sort of thing, or do you think it should be?
I actually do like that. It can either you go that route, or I was thinking like a roguelike, but I kind of do prefer the Darkest Dungeon route with it.
Darkest Dungeon is not roguelike, is it?
It's not. I don't remember. I don't think it is.
I don't think it is, but it would be kind of interesting if it were.
It's a game that I've been interested to play, but I just never got around to it.
I have literally had that game in my cart on the Switch eShop and like convinced myself not to buy it. But I hear it's great, and I really would love to play it. It would just it would just be added to the stack of games that I have no time to play. But yeah, I hear great things. So I would love to play it, certainly. I don't see why, if Darkest Dungeon is not roguelike, let me actually find this out if it is. But if Darkest Dungeon is not roguelike, I'm kind of at a loss to see why it's not. Okay, so it is roguelike.
Oh, it is? Okay.
It is roguelike. So I guess the easy answer to this one is just it's Darkest Dungeon, but with Kirby characters.
I'd play it.
Ship it. This next one, I like. This speaks to me. Cyber Skate Underworld.
Cyber Skate Underworld, eh?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Futuristic skateboarding game? So we're going with this?
Where does your head go? I want to know where your head goes with this first before I tell you what mine is.
I don't know. I don't know why, but I'm like going like cyberpunk sort of thing.
Do you mean like Cyberpunk 2077?
A little bit.
Like the upcoming video game by CD Projekt Red?
I'm so ready for
it. I'm sort of imagining like, so this is my real question. I guess in so many ways. My real question is, do you see this being a third or first person game?
I don't know if it's a skateboarding game. I don't know how would a first person skateboarding game work.
That is exactly what intrigues me, Todd. That is why Cyber Skate Underworld must be a first person game. We will pioneer this. I don't think there's ever been a first person skateboarding game.
There's never been. I think the only time I don't think I've ever seen a first person.
I mean, here's the deal. If it works for, say, a game like Hover, which is a first person or can be played in first person roller skating game, why can't it work? And there's several games with like parkour mechanics. You're thinking, Dying Light, Mirror's Edge. Why can't there be a first person skateboarding game?
I mean, you're not wrong. Like on paper, you're not wrong.
Okay, apparently there has been a first person skating game. Never mind. No, I mean, it's not like a famous. Apparently, it's called Perfect Stride, I guess.
Yeah, I've never heard of that game in my life.
Yeah, so. But,
well, it's time we make a good one.
Yeah, but I'm just high production values. Maybe this could even be like a offshoot or spin-off of Cyberpunk 2077, because I'm basically imagining a first-person skateboarding game in that world. That sort of amazing cyberpunk fiction that they have created. I would love that because, again, those are just three words that really speak to me. I do want to stop and just talk about the underworld aspect of it, because underworld sort of implies that you're going to be rubbing elbows with some seedy folks.
Of course.
And I almost wonder if you could go a Mirror's Edge route where it's a mail delivery kind of courier thing, maybe with your skateboarding prowess in the cyber skate underworld. You're sort of helping these criminal overlords in some way.
Okay.
I don't know. I like it. I'd play it.
I mean, I'd play it.
The next one, Todd. Are you ready for this one?
Yes.
Def Jam Gnome Thieves. The title again is Def Jam Gnome Thieves.
God bless.
Do you know anything about the Def Jam series?
I swear to God. Which one is that?
It's it's a video game series that's a fighting game, but it's weird because it's hip hop influenced. And
it's like rappers and shit.
Yeah, exactly. It's you're playing as celebrities, and there's been several Def Jam fighting games. It's so strange. I played one of them on I think PS2. I think it was Def Jam Vendetta or something like that. My God, it was just so weird. I just remember it being you're sitting there fighting and you're playing as fucking Ghostface Killer or whatever. And it's and the hits are connecting, and it's wiggity wiggity what, and it's and it keeps playing and it just keeps playing the fucking track, and it's strange. It does scratch a certain itch though. There is a certain itch where it's you do kind of to the kind of nitty gritty New York hip hop itch. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
There is sort of that kind of thing that is not very well serviced in games. I think it's another reason why I liked Into the Spider-Verse so much. It's because that scratched that itch for me a little bit. But yeah, Def Jam's weird. Oh, and here's another thing. I guess I struck this from my memory. It's actually a wrestling game. It's not just street fights. It's actually wrestling.
Oh God!
You're in a ring. I don't know. Interesting, but
what a weird game series. But where do you get the gnome?
So that's what I'm saying. So this gives you context, at least, what the game series, what Def Jam is. Now, the Gnome Thieves is interesting. That's the angle that's the nut that I can't quite crack with this one. How do you meld those two worlds? The Def Jam Gnome Thieves. These gotta be some gangster ass gnomes, dude.
It's the hip hop artists versus the gnomes.
Really? Is that
I don't know.
the hip hop artists versus the gnomes? So maybe the gnomes are stealing from the hip hop artists. I mean, shit. Ghostface Killah be pissed as hell if a gnome tried to steal his piece. Todd, the Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with. That's what they say. And if the gnomes tried to break in and steal some of their chains...
Oh, God.
This is good. You know, you got that good content. You got like the whitest person on planet Earth here talking about hip-hop. But yeah, I mean, I gotta imagine... I don't know. That seems like it would be a weird Def Jam spin-off. But if if we were going to try to like meld this into the core Def Jam franchise, stand right next to Def Jam Vendetta and Def Jam Fight for New York and Def Jam Icon, Def Jam Gnome Thieves. What's the premise? What are they stealing? You know what I mean? Are they just stealing random
Their
shit?
souls.
Their souls. Oh my god. What? There's fucking souls, Todd? What's the angle there? You can't just drop that and not explain what you mean. What the fuck?
The gnomes. The gnomes want the power of hip-hop.
Holy shit. You just cracked this motherfucker wide open. So it's like almost like in Space Jam, where they want the power of like the basketball players.
Yes.
Oh. You just made that. You just strung that into gold. You just fucking turned that string into gold. That's great.
Your fucking reaction to me dropping that was the best shit.
Well, I'm just like trying to spitball and figure out, and then just casually, their souls. I'm like, what the fuck? So what should our so we would have to update this because the last entry in the Def Jam series was in 2007. So give me a tight what who do you think should be in the hip hop game? Who should be represented? Whose souls are we stealing? Post Malone.
So the problem with this. well, yes. The thing is, the Def Jam isn't that like isn't Def Jam like a record?
It is.
Studio?
It's like a record label, yeah. But I don't think they've abided by that.
They didn't abide by that?
I don't think so. I think they have included like other because even like in one of them like fucking like Henry Rollins is in it.
No, it's okay.
So I think they're just using it as like a jumping off point.
All right. Well, at that point, you got to get the. I think Post deserves his place in that.
Yeah, Fight for New York had like Flavor Flav in it. So like
Flavor Flav. I want to wrestle. I want to do a like fucking play as Flavor Flav.
Yeah, beat people's ass with that big old clock. So I do want those like cheesy like hip hop artists from those times to like reappear. Now here's a question before we wrap this up because I think we could agonize over which characters would appear, but I think we should move on, even though this is an incredible idea. My question is. Snoop Dogg and Snoop Lion, 2 separate characters?
Yes.
That was my thoughts exactly. Moving right along, Todd, to the next title. This is actually a handheld game, which is maybe the first time we've ever specified that on Video Game Vomit. Have we ever?
That is the first time we've ever specified.
Yeah, I think this is the first time that we've ever specified that this is a handheld game. This one is called Exploding Fish Smuggler DS.
Exploding Fish Smuggler.
DS. This is on the Nintendo DS. So you're going to have to track one of those down to play this game.
To play this winner. Exploding Fish Smuggler. DS.
You are contacted by a powerful mafioso looking to plant exploding fish all throughout the city. Maybe it connects in some way. God, I wish this was 3DS because maybe they could do an interesting thing with like the geocaching, like functionality where you could go to like actual real live locations and it would connect to like your DS.
Mm-hmm.
But my thought is maybe you keep it in your pocket.
Wait, you keep the fish in your pocket?
No, you keep the DS in your pocket.
Oh.
Keep the DS in your pocket while the console's in like sleep mode. And you move as carefully as possible to your location. They give you like, say, I'm just spitballing here. Say they give you a, because I've put zero thought into this. I've put 10 seconds of man hours into this. Say they give you like a location like down the street or something like that with the power of geocaching. You have to carefully move your exploding fish in the form of your DS closed in your pocket to that location.
The DS doesn't have that type of power.
The DS doesn't. That's my problem. This idea is too far beyond its time.
It's too advanced.
It is.
You've gone off the rails with this.
They say it can't be done. You say it can't be done. If you're so fucking smart, you designed this game. What do you got?
This one's a weird one. I do like the angle you're going with, but I don't know. You're thinking too much with geocaching. Get away from the geocaching.
Todd, the angle.
What?
Get it? Like angler. It's a good pun, Todd. It's a good pun.
Kill yourself.
So you like that angle. So where else? So what? The reason I thought of this in the first place is because there was a DS game that kind of did something like that. One of the Mario and Luigi games, Bowser's Inside Story, there's a moment where you are inside Bowser and it's completely dark in there. And so the system tells you to close the system. And you play the game at that point using the shoulder buttons based on the audio that the system is projecting. It's giving you directions and telling you what to press to get through the area.
Interesting.
Which is an interesting mechanic, and I feel like that is something you could do with Exploding Fish Smuggler.
See, if I knew about that, that makes a little more sense.
You said I was fucking crazy.
You still are.
And there is like a gyro, like there's already like a pedometer like built into these systems.
Yeah.
So like it knows when you're taking like full steps. So the way that the system the way you could sort of design that around the system's already built-in pedometer is like you have to move so gingerly with this exploding fish in your pocket that you cannot register a full step. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you register a full step, you've ticked off a strike essentially, and your fish is that much closer to exploding. You know what I'm saying? Maybe there is an audible beep coming from your system when the fish is getting close to exploding. I don't know. Could be good. Could be good.
Could be interesting, if anything.
Leave it on the cutting room floor. We'll let Retro Studios develop it. Next up, morbidly obese heroes.
Yes. Now, are these original heroes? Are they?
I mean, can you think of like classic heroes that are morbidly obese?
We can make them obese.
So like we're taking like just fat Hercules and fat Thor, basically. That's what I often tell people. People are like they're like, oh, you ever hear that you look like Duck Dynasty or whatever? I'm like, no, but I feel like I probably look more like fat Thor. Yeah. Okay. Let's explore both angles, because creating original characters is hard. You have to create lovable, memorable characters, and that's hard to do, Todd. So I think we should explore the angle of like which characters do you think are ripe for making fat?
Now, what sort of heroes are we doing here?
I mean, heroes. It doesn't necessarily have to be gods.
It's a broad term.
It could be superheroes.
I want fat Batman.
I mean, that's just Fat Man at that point. I mean, why not all of them?
Everyone.
Why not gods and superheroes?
But what is the gameplay?
Maybe it's like a fighting game, like a Smash Brothers style fighting game with just these fat blobs
with really good jiggle physics.
Yeah, like a Gang Beast sort of thing, you
And
know?
really, and just really good jiggle physics. Get the boys from Dead or Alive.
Get me the Dead or Alive team on this one. Yeah, just, I was thinking of it being like more stylized at first, but no, I want it to be like hyper realistic. I want photo real fat asses.
And as they're getting punched, it's just the fucking leg just vibrate.
I don't think even punching is really a thing. I think it should even control like Gang Beasts, where you don't really like. Todd, when you're morbidly obese, like who's got the energy to throw a punch? All we can really do is smack our fat around and wrestle. That's really all it is. You just have to sort of like wrestle your fellow fat people to the ground and just hope that you can claim dominance. That's really all it is. There's no punch throwing. There's no kicking. We can't lift our arms. We just have to try to.
No, just play.
Everybody's morbidly obese. We live in America. We're Americans.
No, I'm a big boy.
So yeah, I like that. Now, should there be some sort of like story justification as to why these heroes are like suddenly morbidly obese?
Alternate universe.
Just that multiverse. We're in the fat universe.
It's Earth FAT. I don't know.
Earth FAT. That's the fucking current multiverse we're living in. Earth FAT up in this bitch. The next game I have here, I love this title so much. Tom Clancy's Spider in Toyland.
What?
Oh, I know where my head goes immediately for this one.
Just tell me. I need to know.
So it's Tom Clancy, right? So this sort of implies like, Splinter Cell, Rainbow Six. So a sort of militaristic tactical sort of thing. A spider in Toyland. I mean, that already. I'm basically thinking of like a tactical like spider stealth game, like having to navigate these like playset levels that to a spider are huge. It's like a fucking open world, basically. It's basically an open world game to the spider. But it's really just like a child's playset with toys.
But what's the goal?
Now, that's something that you have to build a story around.
Is the goal to survive, to get back to the web? Or is the goal
you can make your own web, Todd. You're a spider.
I know. But here's the thing, you still usually have spiders have like their web like just chilling usually.
They have like nests, yeah.
Nests and shit.
Yeah, I sort of thought of it to be like a stealth tactics game, and I'm curious. There sort of has to be an antagonistic force with these games. I don't think it should necessarily be like a human element.
Big old cat.
Big old cat. Maybe. I don't know. Like, what is the enemy of the spider? The spider's kind of like Mother Nature's motherfucker, isn't it? Like, it's not really.
If it's a motherfucker spider.
If it's another insect, what is gonna outclass a spider, especially Tom Clancy's spider? Or maybe we get really meta with it, and this is in Tom Clancy's house. This is with Tom Clancy's toys.
Oh God.
Didn't Tom Clancy die?
Didn't
he like recently die?
I don't know. You might have. Let me see.
He did. He died in 2013. I heard that Jack Ryan show is pretty good.
Well, anyway. On Amazon Prime.
Yeah, my dad's been watching it. He says it's good.
I've been interested in it because it's buddy who's in it, Krasinski.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Tangent.
That is a tangent. But so Spider in Toyland. So if it is, I think Tom Clancy has a really good way of like, he had sort of these again, focus on like military and secret agents and shit like that, but almost always involved with like government conspiracy. So I wonder if maybe the spider gets mixed up in some like crazy shit Maybe it's revealed like in like midway through the game that the spider is like an experiment, and this whole thing has been seeing his like intelligence, like the spider is like growing intellect. You know what I mean?
And it's just all everything, all the levels were a test.
Yeah, it was all just tests that were deliberately set up for the spider to overcome. And this ties into fucking Spider-Man. I'm just kidding.
Shut the fuck.
That's our crossover event right there.
It is, technically.
Morbidly Obese Heroes. This takes place in the Morbidly Obese Heroes universe, and this perfectly correlates to how you have Spider-Man in this universe. Fuck.
But why is Spider-Man fat?
Because it's Earth FAT. We've already explained that. Anyway. I've got one last title, Todd. I'm not going to say that I saved the best for last, but this is a really good title. And I think this is one of those titles where you sort of immediately know where it's going, but you like where it's going. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Telekinetic Office Football.
Yes.
You already know, like, where that's going in your head. That's an obvious one, but it just is good. Like, you like the place it's going.
Mm-hmm. The thing is, it's got to be done with the good old paper shit.
Right.
Yes. You know what
like
I'm talking about.
The triangular...
Yes. You know, the little bullshit everybody used to do, like the field goal kick bullshit.
Yes.
But we're doing
Were you any good at that?
I was all right.
Yeah, I was all right at it, too. I was okay. But every now and then, like the pressure, there was sort of in school when that would present itself. There was sort of an arena style scenario to that.
Oh, there was with that shit. Then there's also like the douchebag thing you do with a rubber band.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
That shit was stupid though.
Oh, that shit was fun though.
We had maybe this is like I don't know if this is a thing for you growing up, but we were big into hacky sack.
That's more of your time.
It's all right, Grandpa. You can go home.
We all played a hacky sack back in my day.
We kicked around the wiffle ball. The hacky sack was the shit in high school, dude.
Here's the thing. I did see motherfuckers with hacky sacks. I didn't fuck with it.
We fucked with hacky sacks hard, dude. But so to get back to what I was saying, there was sort of an arena when somebody handed you one of those little paper footballs and they held up the field goal with their fingers, right? Shit was on at that point. It's on, motherfucker. I'm going to make this field goal. And you can't stop me, right? And sometimes you would draw a little bit of a crowd, like people would watch you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the important thing to note, telekinesis is in play here. So, maybe the different characters have different advantages and disadvantages. Defense has to... I'm imagining shit just flying through the office to break these little paper footballs.
Yeah.
Like, their defense is involved with them, like, they're sitting in their office chairs just with their hands, like, Charles Xavier style, like, up to their temples. And they're just making, like, printers, like, fly through the air, trying to stop this little paper. Their offense... Because
that is the rule. You cannot use your telekinetic powers on the paper.
No, you cannot use it. The only person that can use the telekinetic powers on the paper is the person... Like, is the sort of...
So is there a level of your... so as the player, you're moving this completely. It's almost like a flying game in a way.
In essence, yeah. So in essence, whoever... You're not really playing as the characters as much as you're playing as the items that they're using their telekinesis on.
Yes.
Right? So one player is running the quote-unquote ball with their telekinetic powers. And the other players, you know, some players are doing attack things where they're knocking off the defensive items with their own items.
At this point, it needs to be a multiplayer game. I think there needs to be at least like a 1v4 sort of situation.
No, I think it's like team on team.
Okay.
I think it's literally like one person is assigned to run the ball, and the other people are. It's like a real football game where you know.
So
This
you got
person's on-
people, you got people shooting printers at other people's printers to stop them.
Yeah. So this person on the defense is over here trying to hit the ball with a printer, but I'm gonna stop him from doing that with my office chair. You know what I mean?
Shit. Why would I play the fuck out of this?
That's good. I would play the shit out of that. I feel like we always come away from these, like we always come away from these with at least one game that I would legitimately like spend $60 on, no question. And Telekinetic Office Football is like that one for sure.
Yeah. We got some good gold with this episode though.
Video game vomit is all about making hay. That's all it is. Make hay while the sun's still shining.
Mm-hmm.
Just, you know what? Just sit there and just, spin your string into gold.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say is your favorite title in this list?
Well, just mainly, not even because it's like the title, just because your reaction to some of the shit I've said.
Oh, the Def Jam Gnome Thieves. That was good shit. That was a game changer. That was a game-changing revelation. I gotta hand it off to Telekinetic Office Football. I'm so on board for this.
That's a good one.
I'm so on board for
also was
this.
a big fan of Kirby's. Was it Kirby's Dungeon of the Damned?
Yeah, Kirby's Dungeon of the Damned, Cyberskate Underworld.
Yeah.
So are we settled for our crossover event? Are we sold on it being Spider in Toyland cross Morbidly Obese Heroes?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
That was it. Like you segued that into you segued that perfectly into like the crossover. That was great.
Okay. Well, with that being said, Todd, I think that pretty much does it for this edition of Video Game Vomit. You're up next. You've got shoes to fill. You got anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
That's about it.
All right. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll catch you next week with Kingdom Hearts impressions, Monster Hunter talk. But in the meantime, get fucking dunked on. Bye.
See ya.
Hey there, thanks for checking out another fantastic Nerd Bourbon video. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, be sure to go ahead and subscribe, leave us a like, drop us a nice comment, or I guess a mean one if that's your prerogative. But until next time, get dunked on.